In the beautiful city of Lagos, one filled with colorful street vendors, busy traffic, and the vibrancy of life, there is a home amongst others that is filled with sadness. In a beautiful house at a residential area, Sarah, a beautiful young lady well dressed in an elegant clothing, sat on a chair, holding a photo frame. Staring blankly at the wedding photo, she is visibly distressed. Daniel, Sarah's husband, walks in wearing a neatly tailored suit, tall and handsome, with a air of authority, checking his phone, barely noticing his wife's mood or even glancing at her. Sarah, realizing her husband is not going to talk to her, Sarah stared at her husband and said, "Daniel, can we talk?" Daniel, without looking up from his phone, responded, "What is it this time, Sarah?" Sarah hesitated and said, I don't know how much longer I can take this, Daniel. Your mother's word, your sister's tales, the tension in every family gathering feels like a battlefield. They blame me for everything, and you just sit there and say nothing. It hurts, Daniel. Daniel sighed. "Sarah, you know how my family are. They don't mean any harm. They just don't understand." Sarah cut him off. "They don't understand? Daniel, they call me Barry. They laugh at me behind my back, even in my face. Honestly, your silence feels like you agree with them." "Oh, come off it, Sarah. I don't agree with them. I just don't want to make things worse. Can't we just ignore it?" said Daniel. Sarah got up, frustration boiling over her. "Easy for you to say, Daniel. You are not the one they attack," Sarah said angrily and walked towards the stairs, leaving Daniel feeling conflicted but unwilling to follow her. So the next day, Daniel visited his family home with Sarah. The house is lively, but the atmosphere is tense for Sarah. She tries to blend in, but Mrs. Benson, Daniel's mother, wasted no time in attacking Sarah. "Sarah, come here, come help me in the kitchen." Mrs. Benson begins her usual passive-aggressive commentary. "You know, when I got married to Daniel's father, I had him within 1 year. It's a blessing when a woman fulfills her purpose in a marriage." Sarah, forcing a smile, said, "Mama, I'm trying." "Trying isn't enough, Sarah. Maybe you should see a specialist or a pastor. Some women just need extra prayers to remove blockage." Sarah was already feeling sad. Her hands were trembling as she chopped vegetables, but she doesn't respond back. In the living room, Daniel's sister whispered and giggled, glancing at Sarah. Daniel pretended not to notice. Sarah looked at her husband Daniel, hoping for some intervention, but got none, so she ignored everything and focused on her phone. Later that evening, Sarah overheard Mrs. Benson speaking to her friends and said, "My poor son married a woman who can't even bear him children. Such a pity. I don't know what my son sees in her. It's so frustrating, my friends." Sarah didn't even bother to wait to hear more. She ran to the bathroom, tears streaming down her face as she called her best friend Maya. "Maya, I don't think I can do this anymore. They hate me. They clearly do hate me. I can't take it anymore. I can't be strong anymore. And my husband is not helping things. What can I do?" "Sarah, stop crying. I have told you to stop crying. Don't let what these people are saying break you. You have to be strong. Don't let them break you. Please, my friend. You have to calm down. Please, I hate seeing you cry. Just keep on praying. Everything will be fine." "Thank you so much, Maya. I don't know what I will do without you. God bless you. I'm just going to leave this place soon, get home, take a cool shower, and go to sleep. I feel so weak and tired. They have literally exhausted me and still insult me. It's so frustrating." Back at home, Sarah confronted Daniel, who was sitting on a couch scrolling through his phone. Sarah went up to Daniel and said, "Daniel, how can you allow your family to treat me like this? Your mother literally humiliated me in front of her friends and your family today, and you said nothing," Sarah said angrily. In his defense, Daniel voiced out and said, "What do you want me to do, Sarah? Start a fight with my family? It's not that simple." "No, Daniel, it's that simple. It's very simple. Stand up for me, your wife. I am your wife. Stand up for me for once." "But you won't, because deep down you believe them, don't you?" Daniel looked away, guilt flashing across his face. "I am being the punching bag for your family. Either we figure this out or..." Her words break. She doesn't finish the sentence. Daniel finally looking up at her, realizing the gravity of her words. "Okay, fine, Sarah. Let's go see a doctor together tomorrow." Sarah immediately calmed down and she looked really relieved but worried. At the hospital, the doctor ran some tests on the couple and told them to come the next day. The next day, Sarah and Daniel went to the hospital and the doctor ushered them in and the doctor began to speak to them. Mr. and Mrs. Daniel, welcome. After conducting some tests on both of you, first I would like to say, Mrs. Daniel, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are totally fine and very fertile. Sarah smiled and released the breast she didn't know she was holding. Doctor, you say I'm fine. I am fertile. I can carry a child. I can get pregnant. Is that what you mean, doctor? God, thank you. Thank you. Yes, Mrs. Daniel, you are perfectly okay. Now back to you, Mr. Daniel. Your result here with me states that your sperm count is significantly low. This could make conception challenging without a medical assistant. And truthfully, the chance of it being possible, even with medical assistance, is still very low. Doctor's office fell silent. Sarah looked up at Daniel in shock, while Daniel stares at the floor, confused. So, it's not me. Doctor, it's not me. No, Mrs. Daniel, it's not you. Your test shows everything is normal. The issue lies with Mr. Daniel. Daniel finally spoke up, but that can't be true, doctor. I have impregnated a girl before, like 2 times, and she got pregnant. Sarah immediately looked at Daniel and said, Daniel, are you cheating on me? No. This was way back before I met you. Mr. Daniel, these things can happen. It's either those pregnancies were not yours or this issue occurred later on. If you are having doubt, you can also check in another hospital to confirm this. It's fine, doctor. We'll take our leave now. We will keep in touch, said Sarah. Both couples left the clinic in silence. The drive back home was longer than usual. Sarah was so shocked. At home, Sarah finally broke the silence and said, So all this time, Daniel, all this time, I thought I was the problem, not knowing it's you. Do you have any idea how much pain I have endured because of your family? And even you, I waited and craved for your protection, but you brought none to me. You made me suffer, cry in pain. I go to bed crying every night, and you watched me suffer. And now it's you. I don't even know if I should be happy or sad at the fact that I'm not the problem, or the fact that we can never have children. Daniel. Daniel looked up at Sarah with sadness and shame in his eyes. I did not know, Sarah. I swear I did not know. Sarah burst out angrily. You did not know, or you did not want to know. You let them tear me apart because it was easier than standing up for me, your wife. You let me suffer alone, Daniel. Sarah, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Please calm down. Let's talk about this. I am still in shock. Sarah looked at Daniel, who really looked broken and unlike himself, so she calmed down and walked away. The days that followed were filled with silent tension in the house. Sarah said nothing to Daniel. She cooks, served him, and goes about her day saying nothing to Daniel. Daniel was feeling frustrated. He barely goes to work, and when he does, he couldn't concentrate. And one day at his office, he got a call from his mother, who told him that she's coming over. Daniel wanted to refuse but hesitated and said nothing. Before he could get home and tell his wife that his mom is coming, he got a call from his wife instead. And Sarah asked, "Why didn't you tell me your mom is coming?" Daniel was shocked and tried to explain, but Sarah ended the call on him. Daniel quickly got up from his chair and rushed home. Back at home, Mrs. Benson knocked the door. Sarah opened, and when she appeared, before she could speak, Mrs. Benson pushed her aside and entered with her 2 daughters and a strange girl. Sarah closed the door and walked up to them and said, "Mama, welcome." Without getting a response, Mrs. Benson asked, "Where is my son?" Sarah responded, "Mama, I'm greeting you, welcome." Sarah, or whatever they call your name, I am not here for your greetings or pleasantries. You hear me? Save it. I ask again, where is my son? Mama, he went to work. What about you? Don't you have work to go to? Abi, all you do is stay at home, doing nothing. Not like you even have children to take care of. You are just eating my son's money. Is that all you are good for? What a waste. Get my luggages inside. Nonsense. And also get those of my daughters and this beautiful lady here. Sarah said nothing and called for the gate man. She called out to the gate man to come take the luggages inside, but Mrs. Benson spat out. "What are you doing, Sarah? Are you too big to carry my luggages, or am I too small to send you on an errand? Both sisters laughed and enjoyed the show. Sarah spoke up. Well, Mama, this is my house. In my house, I run it. My rules are my rules. What I say or do stands. Nobody comes to my house to boss me around. Not even my husband, your son, bosses me around. You want your luggages to be taken care of? Fine. Who doesn't shouldn't matter. Don't come to my home and stress me out, I beg. Boomer, carry those bags to the guest rooms. Not upstairs, oh. The rooms on the left after the kitchen. Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Mama carry them so. Sarah glared up at them and went back to sit down. Mrs. Benson and her daughters were stunned and stared at Sarah as she sipped her drink. Mrs. Benson finally got herself and walked up to Sarah and said, Sarah, your days are numbered in this house. Sarah said nothing but laughed at the movie she was watching. Mrs. Benson and her daughters and the strange girl they came with all walked to their rooms. In the room, Mrs. Benson began to speak. That barren witch has the audacity to talk to me like that. Well, that will all end today. I will break those wings that is sprouting. Mama, you need to deal with her. Can you imagine her putting us in this room downstairs when there are better rooms upstairs? I cannot sleep here, oh. Me, I cannot sleep here, said Tina, one of Daniel's sister. I agree, Mama. I also can't stay here in this low quality room. This is our brother's house and we deserve the best, the other sister said. Gina, well, Mom, I would rather go to a lodge in a hotel than face this kind of embarrassment. I don't want trouble. I am nothing but a visitor, said Dina, the lady that came with them, clearly trying to add fuel to fire. How, my daughter, this will soon be your home. You don't have to worry at all. You will stay here. Which hotel? When you have this big house, just let my son come back. When he comes back, I promise he will do the needful. He always listens to me. Don't worry. Dina smirked and nodded. She had always had a crush on Daniel, and this was a chance to get him no matter what. She doesn't care if Daniel was married. To her, Daniel wasn't happy in the marriage, and she believes luck is on her side because of the situation at hand and the likeness Mrs. Benson had for her. So she believed she had the upper hand and the chance to guess with Daniel. Few minutes later, Daniel was home and he walked through the door and saw his mom and his siblings sitting in the living room with their bag beside them, looking sad and angry. Before he could speak, Mrs. Benson spoke up. My son, welcome. Thank God you are here. Finally, you are back. Well, as you can see, since morning, since we came, we have been here sitting. No water, no food, not even one welcome from your wife. She just left us here without even greeting us or greeting me, Mrs. Benson said, faking a cry. Yes, brother. The woman you call your wife left us here since, and we can't even go to the kitchen to make something for ourselves to avoid issues with her, said Tina, Daniel's sister. Daniel finally spoke up. But Mama, why did you tell me you were come before coming? This is my home, and my wife and I are a team. We discuss things before it happens. Will you keep quiet? You mean I should inform you before coming to your house, my only son's house? Are you okay? Mrs. Benson spat out angrily. Sarah heard everything that was going on downstairs, but she ignored. Mama, calm down, please. That is not what I mean. Please just get up. Let me take you to your rooms. Where is your bag? Daniel took his mother's bag as he ordered his sister to carry their bags, and he took them to the same room downstairs that they rejected. Daniel, I am not staying in this room. Neither is any of us, Mrs. Benson said, refusing to go in further. You had better take us to the room upstairs. Who do you think I am, Daniel? Am I a stranger? You are my child, my only son. I am your mother, so you would accord me the respect. Do you hear me, Daniel? Mama, please, I am sorry, but upstairs is my wife's territory, and no other person is welcome there. So please, just settle in, okay? I will make sure dinner is ready soon. I had a pretty rough day at work. Can't you notice my mood? Please. Daniel walked out before anyone could say a word. Did he just run off on me? Back in Sarah and Daniel's room, he went to his wife and sat down beside her. Sarah, my mom didn't inform me she was coming. I'm sorry. Please just make them feel comfortable like you used to. Sarah stared at Daniel. Daniel, is this you? How come you are now suddenly this supportive and attentive? You are apologizing for your family. Wow, that's new. What am I missing, Daniel? Sarah said in a surprising mocking tone. Sarah, please, let's talk and discuss properly and find solutions. I don't need solutions, so I don't need to find solution. I am sure your family would be really glad to help you. After all, they are the head of the family, Sarah said, got up and walked out. During dinner, Sarah served everybody their food and sat down to eat. Sarah, I need some wine. Go get me some, said Mrs. Benson. And me too, Tina added. Sarah ignored them and continued to eat her food. Daniel looked at his mom and his mom looked at Sarah. And Daniel spoke up. Tina, go get the wine from the cellar. Tina stared at his mom and said, okay, brother. She got up and went to take the wine. So, Daniel, your wife cannot entertain us again, Abi? Mama, please, just eat your food. Bikonu. Don't tell me that, Daniel. What is all this? Who are you? Where is my son? What did you do to my son? Sarah, have you managed to bewitch my son? Mama, please, I have had enough. Please, you can't come to my home and make mockery of me. And I didn't bewitch your son. Leave me out of this. Please, leave me out of your conversation. Sarah, please mind how you speak to mom. She's your husband's mother. She's old enough to be your mother, said Dina. And who the hell are you to bring your opinion in this conversation? Sarah said angrily. Don't talk to her like that. She's here with me and she's no stranger. If you didn't come out from nowhere, she would have been my son's wife, and by now there will be children and kids running around this house. Mama, please stop. Don't say that to my wife. Sarah laughed. Oh wow, fine, really fine. There's still a chance, so Mama, for that to happen. There's still a chance. Daniel, you will be getting married soon, no? And I will surely help you out with the marriage preparation and even ready your first night together as husband and wife. She turned to Dina, who was staring at her like a mad person. Our wife, welcome, oh. I knew it. I just knew it. I guess I did not need a soothsayer to tell me the reason Mrs. Benson brought you to my house today. So you are welcome, Sarah said, laughing but serious. Sarah, what's the meaning of this? Did I tell you I wanted to take a second wife? No. You don't need to say it, oh. Your mother has already gotten you a wife. And that wife is sitting right in front of you. And I am fully in support, oh. As a good woman that I am in support. But you see this house? Nobody, I repeat, no bagger would dare live in this house. This is my home. And if you think for once that I will leave my matrimonial home for anybody, then you have something else come, because this is my territory, my lane, my crown. So you dare not try me. Daniel, get ready to get a new house for your new wife, because nobody is living here. This is my house. I have said my own. Enjoy your food, and I hope all of you choke on it. Rubbish, Sarah said and got up angrily. Sarah, wait. Sarah, Daniel called out, running to her. Mrs. Benson and the others were shocked and speechless. Daniel rushed up to Sarah and held her hand. Come on, Sarah, why would you say that? Why would you agree to such nonsense? That isn't even true. I am not getting married, nor am I getting a house for anyone. Go and tell that to your mother that does nothing but frustrate me. Please, go and sort your issues. I am at peace with myself, and I tend to keep that peace, but not with your family here. Fix this mess, Daniel. Good night. Daniel sighed in frustration. The next morning, after Daniel had left for work, Sarah came downstairs to get things done and saw the dining table all messed up, and even the living room is worse than the dining table. So she just ignored and went to the kitchen. The kitchen was also in a rough mess, but she did what she wanted to, made herself some breakfast and went upstairs to eat her breakfast. Few minutes later, Mrs. Benson called out for Sarah. Sarah, come downstairs now. Mother house owner, you boast of this house as yours, yet look how messy it is. Can't you see, or are you just blind? You call yourself a married woman. Are you still supposed to be in bed by this time? Come and clean up this mess. Who is your slave? Mama, is it not too early for all this talk? In fact, where is the wife you brought for Daniel? Doesn't she know she ought to clean up the house for her husband to show good character? After all, you almost turned me into a full-time slave before I got married to your son Daniel. You all made this mess, so clean it up, Sarah said sternly and walked to her room. Mother, what is this now? Sarah is beginning to grow wings, and brother seems to be controlled by her. We need to do something fast before she turns my brother into a fool, said Gina, the younger sister. Don't worry, is it not me again? It is me, Mrs. Benson. I'm in this house. Don't worry, I already have a plan. Mrs. Benson said, assuring the girls. That evening, after dinner, everybody was in the living room watching a movie, and then Mrs. Benson began. My son, Daniel, I think it's high time we talk. You know you are my only son, and I always want the best for you. So with lot of thought from us, your family, we have decided to get you a new wife. And she's right here with us. Thankfully, your so-called wife has caught on, and she's even in support. So no further delay should occur. The wedding preparation has already commenced soon. And you don't need to worry yourself at all. I will handle everything. I am your mother. My mother has enough. Daniel cut his mother off. I'm not getting married, neither will there be any wedding. This discussion is over. And please get ready. I will call the family driver tomorrow to come take you all home. And you, Dina, you should be ashamed of yourself. I can't believe you agreed to this. Mama, good night, Daniel said and went to his room. Sarah laughed, got up and followed her husband. Dina turned to Mrs. Benson and said, Mom, this isn't what you promised me. Oh, you said Daniel likes me. What's going on now? Me, I'm not desperate. Oh. My daughter, stay calm. I have told you this is your home, Mrs. Benson said reassuringly to Dina. So the next day, Mrs. Benson found a way to convince Daniel to let them stay for 2 more days. Daniel agreed. After all, he can't chase them out. Sarah has gone out to check on her staff at her supermarket. It was a Saturday. Daniel was home. He was in his room sorting out some documents when his mother walked in and said, Daniel, my son, my only son, my crown, I am sorry. I know a lot has been happening in your home for a long time now, and for a peace offering, I have made your favorite food. You know it's been long you ate my food because you were married. Mama, point of correction, I was not married. I am still married. I am still legally married, and my wife is in this house with me. Okay, oh yeah, sorry. Just come downstairs, come and eat. Even I myself, I am tired of the back and forth. Since you love her so much, no problem, I am sorry. Daniel was delighted at this, and also for the fact that it's been long he tasted his mom's food. So he agreed and went downstairs to eat. After eating, Daniel went back to his room. He couldn't wait for his wife to come back so they can sort this whole family drama once and for all. After a while, Daniel started feeling dizzy and slept off. And few minutes later, Mrs. Benson came in with dinner and got her to have sex with Daniel like they discussed about it and made sure dinner was ovulating at that time. Few hours later, Sarah returned and got to the kitchen to start preparing dinner before going upstairs and saw Daniel sleeping. She didn't wake him and let him sleep. And the next day, Daniel's mom and the others eventually left, and Daniel managed to calm Sarah and pleaded with her. And for the next few weeks, he continued to shower Sarah with love and attention, found every way to make Sarah happy. Sarah begins to feel soft for Daniel again and decided to forgive him and sort things out once and for all. So they visited the doctor again and asked for further information about the treatment, but the doctor made them understand that it's better to just go for adoption, making them understand that that's the better solution because the treatment might not work and it will take 60-40 and that may also be risky. So Sarah and Daniel agreed and went back home. When they got home, Sarah began to feel hesitant, but after some thought, she resigned to her fate. Few days later, they had a knock on the door. While they were watching a movie in the living room on a cool Sunday evening, Daniel got up to get the door and was shocked when he opened the door and saw his mother and Dina by the door. Mrs. Benson, as always, pushed herself inside and began to sing. Hey, Daniel, my son, you are now a father. Dina, welcome to your home. Finally, a real woman has come to this family. Sarah got up from her chair and stared at them. My son, dance with me. I know you are a man. I've always known you are a man. But this woman you kept in your house wanted to make you a boy. But now you are finally a man, like a real man. Mrs. Benson said, dancing and singing. Mama, what is going on? I don't understand. What do you mean by a man? I don't get it. My son, what I mean is you are now a father. You are finally a father. Dina, yeah, your real wife is pregnant for you. What? Sarah and Daniel exclaimed. Mama, what do you mean? Well, Dina is pregnant for you, Daniel. That's what I mean. How? When? Why? How can she be pregnant? I didn't even touch her. Mama, why are you doing this to me now? Why are you trying to destroy my marriage? Dina, who did you say got you pregnant again? Daniel asked, worried. Of course it's you, Daniel, Dina said, smiling. How can that be possible? That's not possible. Well, my son, it's possible because I made it possible. Since you refuse to be a man, I decided to step in for you. I got you to sleep that day I made your favorite food. And I had dinner make love with you, my son. I know it was a wrong move, but my son, it's for the greater good, oh. Ha! Mother! How can you do that to me, your son? And you, Dina, you agreed to this again? You are useless. And for your information, that thing in your womb isn't mine. Shut your mouth. Will you shut your mouth, Daniel? That's my grandchild you are talking about, and your child too. So mind what you say. Dina, take your bags upstairs. The door opened and Daniel's two sisters walked in with Dina's mother following behind. Hey, my son-in-law, no. Good evening, my dear. It's been so long. I have always known you are my daughter, Dina. I'm meant to be. Finally, it's happening. They all sat down. Daniel was still in shock, and Sarah saying nothing, nor minding them. Mrs. Bensi, ignoring the tension in the room, was busy doting on Dina and treating her like an egg. Daniel looked at his mother and said, Mama, do you know what you did is illegal? So, are you going to arrest me? Abebiko, no, you should be happy that you are finally a father. You should be happy. As this barren witch you called a wife refused to give us a child, her time is up. Oh, she needs to leave this house for the new woman of the house to shine. Let this man you call a wife leave. Come see a real woman here, my son, Mrs. Bensi said, pampering Dina, who was smiling and feeling victorious. Mrs. Bensi continued, in fact, we have prepared the wedding venue, paid for caterers, and bought Aswebi. Wedding plans is in action. All that is remaining is for you to get ready and go and pay her dowry. Mama, stop. Just stop all this. I will not take this nonsense anymore. How can you set me up, Mama? Sarah, please, I did not do anything, no. Please believe me. Daniel said to Sarah, feeling really scared. Oh, Daniel, why are you begging her? She will soon leave this house. Why are you begging her? Said Mrs. Bensi. Everybody shut up. Enough. I've had enough. Sarah stood up, screaming. I have kept quiet and allowed all of you spew nonsense and made me suffer for years. You called me barren, mocked me and humiliated me. But guess what? I am not barren. The problem isn't me. The room fell silent. Mrs. Bensi glared at Sarah. What are you spewing now, Sarah? Please, Mrs. Bensi, let me finish. I'm not done. You, Dina, or whatever you call yourself, breakfast or lunch, whatever, you better go and look for the father of your child, or that's if you are even pregnant at all. May your mouth cease to ever talk again. If you say such nonsense again, would you shut up your mouth, you barren witch? Dina goes nowhere. Mrs. Bensi backed at Sarah. Well, Mama, she will leave, because your son cannot impregnate any woman. Mrs. Bensi was shocked and looked at Daniel. Daniel, what is this woman saying? What's going on here? Mama, enough, please. Daniel said loudly in frustration. Mama, she is saying the truth, okay? The problem is not her. It's not Sarah all along. It has been me, okay? We went to the hospital and the doctor ran some tests that shows that I have low sperm count, Mama. I have low sperm count. I can't get any woman pregnant. Hey, whoa, Chimo. My village people have gotten to me, oh. Mrs. Bensi jumped up from the chair, screaming and crying. Everybody in the room was shocked and their mouths wide open. Mrs. Bensi continued, but that can't be true. That can't be true. Then how can you explain Dina's pregnancy? That should tell you that the doctor is quack. Yes, the doctor is quack. Sarah has made him manipulate the result. I think so. Yes, they manipulated the results. Dina is pregnant. And look at her now. She's pregnant. I saw the result. I even went to the hospital with her to confirm the pregnancy. Mrs. Bensi was scared and refused to believe the obvious. Mama, please stop it. I'm tired. I've gone to 4 different other hospitals, even without my wife Sarah, and the results came out the same. Mrs. Bensi sank back in her chair, shocked and defeated. Mama, the child growing in Dina isn't mine. That's if she is even pregnant at all. And what the both of you did to me that night, I wouldn't let it go so easily. Mrs. Bensi's hands fell and her breath raised. Everyone was shocked, including Dina. Mrs. Bensi turned to Dina and said, Dina, tell me the truth, please. Please tell me you are actually pregnant for my son. Please. And don't you dare lie to me, oh. Seeing that she has been caught, she confessed and said, I am not pregnant. Oh, the result was forged, Mama. I spoke to the doctor to forge the result. After waiting and realizing that I will not get pregnant, I actually found out that maybe your son cannot get someone pregnant. Oh, so I had to look for a way out. So I lied. I didn't want to disappoint you, Mama. So I came up with a plan. I plan to get married to Daniel first before planning a miscarriage by getting physical with Sarah, and then have her thrown out of the house. With Sarah gone, that will give me the chance to get close to Daniel and get pregnant again, Dina said, crying. Ha! Hey, whoa! What have I done? Mrs. Benson screamed. Dina knelt down holding Mrs. Benson's hand. Mama, I'm sorry. I did it for you. I know how much you wanted a child from your son. Shut up, Dina. Ha! I'm disappointed at you. So, you decided to deceive and trick me. Dina? Well, she learned from the best, Sarah said mockingly. Dina's mother, who has been listening to everything, was so shocked at her daughter as she got up and left, dragging Dina with her. Daniel's sister, who at this point still haven't recovered from the shock, stayed mute. Mrs. Benson, of course, was in tears at that point, finding it hard to believe her only son can't have children. And she was so ashamed for the terrible thing she did to her son and his wife, Sarah. Sarah spoke up. At this point, I have nothing else to say to any of you. Leaving this marriage would be the best thing to do, but somehow I can't leave my marriage. But that doesn't mean I'm okay at all. Sarah, Daniel walks up to her. I know I have wronged you for not standing up to you. I am so sorry. I should have stood up for you when my family made you feel miserable. I am really sorry, Sarah. Please forgive me and my family. Daniel was on his knees begging. Yes, Sarah, my daughter, we are sorry. Mrs. Benson joined in. We are very sorry. I have wronged you. Me, myself, I know I have wronged you. My family, we have all wronged you. We didn't know what we were doing. We were blinded. And myself, I was blinded by the fact that I wanted grandchildren for my only son to keep my husband's legacy and lineage growing. I am so sorry. I got greedy and greediness controlled me. Please forgive us. We will do everything to make everything okay. You can punish me, but please forgive my son. He needs you more than ever. The two sisters finally managed to speak. Sarah, we are very sorry. We are sorry for being a pain to you. Forgive us, please. We will do better from now on. Sarah stared at them. Half part of her was very relieved, but the other part was skeptical. But she also wasn't sure of her decisions yet. So she told them she needed some time to heal and think. They all agreed. Mrs. Benson and her daughters apologized to Daniel for the setup and they all returned back home. A few weeks later, Sarah and Daniel begins to heal and rebuild their relationship. It wasn't easy, but they had to be strong. They attended therapy sections and explored fertility treatment together, just for a try, but later adopted a beautiful girl and a handsome boy. They named both kids Samuel and Zara, whom they loved and cherished like their own children. Sarah and Daniel sat on the couch watching the children play. They shared a quiet smile, their love renewed. Sarah said to Daniel, "Whatever happens, I am glad we are facing it together." Daniel held Sarah's hand and said, "Together always." The lesson on this story is that marriage is not just about love and commitment. It's about partnership, trust, and standing strong together, especially in tough times. Sometimes the truth shatters what we think we know. But for Sarah and Daniel, it became the foundation of stronger bonds. No matter the situation in every marriage, stand up for your wife, especially when your family try to take her peace. Marriage isn't a prison. Stay aware of your wife's emotion and set boundaries between your family and your marriage. I would also like to hear your thoughts about this story. Do you think Sarah should have left her marriage? Do you think Daniel and his family deserved forgiveness from Sarah? Should Mrs. Benson and Dina get arrested for setting Daniel up for sexual assault? Thank you for listening to my story to the end. If you found this story interesting, please subscribe to my channel for more interesting stories like this. Thank you so much and bye.